Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back here to Weather on the Go. My name is Hunter. On this Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, we're tracking more dangerous severe weather in the form of strong tornadoes, large to very large hail, and some hurricane force wind gusts as we go through today. Severe weather threat quieting down for a bit. We're going to also talk about the Memorial Day weekend forecast and going into June, the long range forecast in this video. So if you do like it, make sure to give it a thumbs up and also share it with friends, family, and anybody that you know. I appreciate it. So let's look here at the 3 out of 5 enhanced risk we have again today across Kentucky, much of the volunteer state of Tennessee, eastern Arkansas, northern Mississippi and Alabama, getting into northern Georgia. This is a 3 out of 5 on the risk scale, and the scale goes to 5. So this is right smack dab in the middle, which means another significant day for severe weather. And by the way, some of the severe weather could extend all the way up into northern Illinois or as far south as southeast Texas or the Carolinas. So we're going to be keeping an eye on all areas going into this afternoon and evening. Looking here at the hail threat, the significant hail with the initial storms back here near the mid-Mississippi Valley from western Kentucky and Tennessee down here into the Boot Heel of Missouri, eastern Arkansas, and northwestern Mississippi. Some of those could be producing up to baseball size hail as we go into this afternoon. As they initially evolve, the hail threat will weaken a bit as it pushes further to the east, but still seeing some quarter half dollar size hail in the yellow shaded colors. We're also concerned again today for some strong tornadoes. We've already seen a lot of those strong and intense, even violent tornadoes the past couple of days. Another threat for that today, a 10% hatched risk where you see these outlined in black, including the Nashville area, Clarksville down here to Memphis, Tupelo, Huntsville, and Florence, all the way up toward Bowling Green, Kentucky. That's the area we need to be on high alert for those strong tornadoes heading through the afternoon. Tornado threat does extend, by the way, up into northern Illinois and southern Indiana, getting over into the Carolinas and all as far south as Louisiana as we go into the afternoon and evening. And then we look at the wind threat in the magenta there. That is a 45% unhatched wind threat. We could be seeing wind gusts up to hurricane force of 75 miles an hour. This is really favoring southern Kentucky, middle and eastern Tennessee, including the Cumberland Plateau vicinity, northern portions of Alabama, and northwestern Georgia. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that area in particular for the damaging winds. Here's the setup for today. Dew points into the mid and upper 60s, low 70s further to the west you go toward the Mississippi River Valley. And notice that's going to give us quite a bit of storm energy and instability this afternoon, over 1,000 joules per kilogram across the board. The further south and west you go toward Texas, that's where you're going to tend to see the higher instability, over 4,000 joules per kilogram. We look here at the wind shear, very important for storm organization, intensity, and to maintain some of those supercells that we have going into the afternoon and evening. This is your 850 millibar low-level jet, and this is going to really continue to sustain through the afternoon, especially in the corridor of Kentucky, Tennessee, down into Mississippi and Alabama, and that will help to potentially rotate some of those thunderstorms. This is your significant tornado parameter space, and this shows you the brighter the colors, the more rotation there are in the atmosphere. And notice as we go into early this afternoon, a lot of that rotation is favored back toward the mid-Mississippi Valley, eastern Arkansas, western Tennessee, and northwestern Mississippi. This will evolve eastward as we go into the afternoon and evening, more into Mississippi, Alabama, middle and eastern Tennessee, and perhaps into Georgia there, as well as all the way far north into areas of Kentucky, southern Indiana, southern Ohio. We're going to be keeping an eye on that threat. Some rotation being noted over here as well into the Carolinas, keeping a very close eye on that. So here's the storm timing for today. The first round could be moving through Nashville here really within the next couple of hours, and that could extend northward into Kentucky. A couple of those storms back building their way toward the Tupelo region. A couple of those could be severe winds, hail, and tornadoes. Going into the mid-afternoon, we're going to have a little bit of a break here east of Nashville toward Cookeville and Knoxville region, and that could destabilize the atmosphere, get it re-energized for storms with the second round. And this second round could be more significant with damaging winds, strong tornadoes, and hail, and the supercells will tend to be pretty intense there into western and middle Tennessee, northern Mississippi and northwest Alabama by about 3-4 o'clock, and then those will push into eastern Tennessee and then really kind of fall apart going later into the evening hours. By the way, rain showers are going to be plentiful with beneficial rains up there into Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, stretching over into northern Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. A lot of rainfall up there as well. Kind of a gloomy day for your Tuesday. And looking here at the maximum updraft helicity tracks, this is where you show the stronger updrafts with these thunderstorms. Obviously, with the stronger updraft, you see bigger hail, stronger winds, and potentially those strong tornadoes. Notice a lot of those are favoring the Tennessee Valley down here into the Dixie Alley region. So Kentucky, Tennessee, northern Mississippi into Alabama, and some of them stretching even as far north as Illinois and Indiana. So we're keeping a close eye on that. Going into tomorrow, thankfully, we can breathe a sigh of relief after our significant severe weather sequence. We have a 1 out of 5 on the risk scale tomorrow for the eastern seaboard, including northern Florida as well. And then that kind of reloads over there into northwest Texas as we go into Thursday, May 22nd. Very small area. This is a 1 out of 5 on the risk scale. Nothing too much to worry about, but still watching the threat for at least a low-end day for severe weather. So going through the rest of the week, beneficial rains, as we did mention, up here across the upper Midwest, stretching over the Great Lakes. That will continue over the next couple of days as this pesky low pressure system just kind of sits there in the northeast and the mid-Atlantic and just spins, and that will just bring a conveyor belt of moisture across the north and the northeast. Areas further to the south will be dry after our bouts of severe weather, and then as we go into the end of the week, maybe some storms or showers moving into the Great Plains, favoring the central and northern plains as we go into Friday. But nonetheless, we're going to be seeing some decent rains from North Dakota through Minnesota, Wisconsin, into northern Illinois, into Indiana there, and Michigan, and then stretching over to the northeast, including coastal regions. Could be seeing up to about 2 inches of rain going through your Saturday morning on May 24th, so be keeping a close eye on that. Let's look at our temperatures, because it is very cool up there to the north, the upper Midwest in particular, and the northern plains like the Dakotas. We are seeing temperature anomalies 35 degrees below normal here this afternoon. In fact, we are seeing record low high temperatures this afternoon again into the eastern Dakotas, stretching into northwest Wisconsin with those areas circled out, potentially seeing the record low high, which means we're seeing highs either in the low to mid 40s like the Dakotas, or maybe just touching 50 degrees over there in northwest Wisconsin. Very chilly, cool, and rainy day. Further to the south, Texas, more triple digits down here into the Rio Grande, 90s along the Gulf Coast, and into Florida, more record highs there in the mid-90s this afternoon. And as we stretch it along through the rest of the work week, the coolest of our air will be up here to the north and extending over into the northeast. In the green, this is temperature anomalies that are 20 degrees below normal for what we should see as we extend it into late May. So as we go into tomorrow, cool air, again, record low highs again across the central Dakotas, circled out there in the mid and upper 40s. Same thing over here into the Great Lakes, maybe a tad bit warmer into the low 50s that extends over in the northeast. The warmest of our air will be down to the south with more 90s, some record highs possible going through the rest of the week. And then we'll start to see a rebound in our temperatures in the upper Midwest as we get to the end of the week on Friday, May 23rd. That's where we could rebound back into the low and mid 60s, which will be much nicer than the upper 40s, which we are seeing here today and likely tomorrow. Now going into Memorial Day weekend, this is for Saturday, May 24th through Monday, Memorial Day, May 26th. Coolest of our air still sticking around across the Ohio Valley into the northeast here with temperature anomalies, again, 20 degrees below normal for late May. And we got to watch the jet stream here as well during that weekend. We still have a little bit of an activation of our subtropical jet, and that is going to feed moisture up across the Baja and into West Texas and over the top, and we're going to be seeing some precipitation for your Memorial Day weekend. So here's Saturday, May 24th. We have some precipitation in the form of showers and thunderstorms. The severe weather threat is not yet assessed right now as it's still further out, but we got to continue to watch this for the potential of severe weather, because again, we are in the heart of severe weather season. That will favor the Central Plains as we go into Saturday. Sunday is more of the Central Plains over here to the Ohio-Tennessee River Valley. And then as we go into Monday, Memorial Day, this favors more of Texas, Oklahoma, a lot of the mid and deep south over here into the southeast for some precipitation. And again, the severe weather threat assessment right now is pretty uncertain. So we don't know if we're going to have some big severe weather or not. We'll keep you updated. But right now, it's looking like a very heavy rain set setup for the deep south, including Texas, including portions of Arkansas into Missouri, stretching over into Kentucky and Tennessee, and a lot of areas over there, including Virginia. Could be seeing a couple of inches of rainfall, where we're drier to the north up toward the Great Lakes, and we're drier out west and drier in Florida as well. And looking here at the last few days of the month of May, this goes through Saturday, May 31st. Coolest of our air will continue to slug its way further to the south and east, warmer over the top. So the southern Canadian prairies that were cooler, this week are going to start to warm up. Same thing here out west, and we're going to dry out as well. So we're going to see some drier weather into the north central United States. Extending over to the northeast, the wettest weather will be down here in coastal Texas all the way up through the southeastern states, where we could see above normal precipitation, and it could be hefty at times. Could be seeing 1 to 4 inches of rain depending on where you are, with multiple and repeated rounds of showers and thunderstorms. Now let's talk about June, because we're not too far away from June and summer is coming. We're literally around a month from summer solstice, and it looks like the ridge is going to start to build from Mexico northward into the United States, at least the south central U.S., and that's going to give us a lot of warm air. This is the entirety of the month of June, all 30 days averaged out. You can see very warm there into the central southern plains and the eastern Rockies. Cooler to the east on the eastern seaboard there, and a little bit cooler in the Pacific Northwest, at least for June. And then we look at the precipitation anomalies for that 30-day average. It's very dry into the plains there. So as we see a lot of rainfall the last couple months, March, April, and May now, we're going to start to dry out in the plains as we go into June, and that's going to shift our storm track further to the north, up over top, the apex of that ridge, into the southern Canadian prairies, the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Northeast, and even, of course, maybe some tropical influence across Florida and the Southeast during that time. And that is when we have to watch out for the airflow around this high pressure. High pressure airflow is clockwise, and sometimes you can see these storm complexes, or what others call ridge riders, that move over top of the apex of the ridge in the storm track and could give us a derecho. You have two different types of derechos: serial derechos, which are usually slower moving, and you have progressive derechos. Progressive obviously meaning faster moving. So that's going to be what we watch for as we go into June, especially by the middle of the month, as the high pressure really begins to settle in across the south central United States. And a derecho is a fast moving line of thunderstorms producing widespread wind damage of 75 miles per hour or greater over a large distance. They can also produce tornadoes and hail, so definitely keeping an eye on that. Here is our severe weather outlook for June 2025. And you can see very clearly where we expect the derecho track to set up across portions of the Midwest, as far back as Iowa and Minnesota, all the way through Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and maybe into the mid-Atlantic there, with a very likely severe weather threat. And then in the red, that's still where we see likely severe weather. So we'll still see some severe weather in the plains, especially the eastern plains that aren't really in drought, down there into the Dixie Alley region, and then up there toward the Great Lakes. And then obviously in yellow, it's possible in June anywhere in the United States you could see severe weather. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. Thank you for watching. Make sure to give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. If you have any questions, comment down below and subscribe to the channel for the latest information, and I'll see you all in the next video.